people, we the people would like you to know that wherever you go, we're right by your side.
Hello everybody, welcome back to We the People. Thank you so much for tuning back in. I hope that you all really enjoyed episode 1 where we highlighted the story of Corey and Joseph. I hope that you were able to take that episode and apply some of those same principles into your daily life, being a champion for those who need you most. On today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the benefits of having a growth mindset. Here recently, I've been reading a book called Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck. In this book, she explains why it is not just our talent and our abilities that allow us to achieve goals, but it's how we approach it. Do we approach them with a fixed or a growth mindset? Oftentimes we hear things like a person is a direct reflection of where they come from or their environment. And here recently in practicing for tests to get into graduate schools, I've heard that your intelligence doesn't change. What you made on the test the first time you took it is most likely going to be the same score that you get on the second or third time. But in this book, she explains how that's not necessarily true. One of my favorite parts of the book is where she says that the passion for stretching yourself and sticking to it, even or especially when it's not going well, is the hallmark of a growth mindset. I recently sat down with one of my coworkers, Kenneth Woodard. Me and Kenneth both got to our current job at the same time. After talking with Kenneth and learning about his background and learning how he got to accomplish goals and how he got to his current job, I was able to realize that Kenneth is the personification of having a growth mindset. One of the stories that Kenneth tells that intrigues me the most is the story about his journey through college. Let's listen.
Hi, my name is Kenneth Woodard. I am a senior associate at Chicago Scholars, and I also run a business called The Scholarship Man. You can find it at thescholarshipman.com, where I help students secure scholarships to fund their college degree. I've got a quick story to tell, and I'm actually going to tell it from the vantage point of my middle child, Rory. I've got 3 beautiful daughters and a wife of 5 years, Gloria. Oldest daughter is Reese, youngest daughter is Elise, and the middle daughter is Rory. And I actually named Rory after a character in a show that you might know. It's called Gilmore Girls, and don't judge me, it is the best show on television. It's actually my favorite show, and the reason why I named my daughter Rory. The reason why that show inspires me is because of actually one particular moment that happened in a show where the main character, Rory, gets into this school called Chilton, and it's really challenging, and she doesn't think she's going to make it. She gets her first bad marks, but there's this episode that I was inspired by where she actually graduates, and her parents are crying. She's walking across the stage, and she's just like, I never thought I could do it. That relates to me because I was that person. I graduated high school. I wasn't making the best marks, and I was honestly more interested in becoming a manager at White Castle around the corner because it was like immediate cash, and it was something that I saw myself doing. So I was all about the White Castle life until, just one friend of mine said, hey, I think you're really smart. Like, you always ask really good questions. Why don't you consider the college that I'm considering? And so this friend of mine was going to Illinois State University. I'd never been to Bloomington, Illinois, never heard of Illinois State University, believe it or not. Never had a counseling session about college with anyone, but just that one question got me to start thinking, and I looked it up on the internet and actually applied, like that week. I landed on the college campus, but I had no idea what was different between college and high school. And that's probably why I'm so passionate about the work that I do now, is because a lot of times high school students are hearing about, yeah, you got to go to college, you got to make this happen, you got to go this direction, but they don't see the play-by-play of how that's going to work or how it's even going to be a benefit. And that was totally me. So I landed on the college campus and immediately found the wrong friends. We would actually keep keep each other, this is gonna sound bad, we would keep each other from class. Like we would play video games, and when it was time for my class to start, my friends would block the door so I couldn't go out to class. And this went on for months and a semester, and I got like really, really low marks. I got a 1.15 GPA my first semester. Second semester, you know, I was on academic probation, kept the same group of friends, and you can imagine how that went. I was asked to leave Illinois State University. From there, I joined community college, and I actually didn't do well there either because I just didn't have, like I said, a vision or mentorship. So I dropped out of community college. That led to a lot of things. It led to alcoholism, it led to drugs, it led to cigarette addiction, it led to homelessness for 7 months. I was still living in the college town and living the college life with no direction, not a lot of money, not a lot of support, and no vision for my life, honestly. And it wasn't until I actually, it's gonna be funny, but I was watching my favorite TV show. But the day on this episode where she graduated, I was like bawling. I was like, wow, how powerful is it to actually set out to do something that everybody thought you'd never make it, and then you do it. And I watched that episode and I thought, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna graduate from college. So that's what I did. I went back to community college, and I did it right this time. I found a lot of support, actually support in mentors. I had support from church members. I found support at the school. I joined a program called Project Rise. This program pairs you with a mentor with strong academics. My mentor was like the best, Adam McCrary. I'll never forget him. My mentor's boss, she actually asked me, like, where do you want to go after here? This is a 2-year school. What do you want to do next? And I said, well, I was looking at Illinois Wesleyan, but I know it's a really prestigious school, and I don't know if I can get in. She's like, well, let me see what I can do. So she set up a meeting between the director of multicultural affairs at Wesleyan and me. We met for 5 minutes. She's like, I like this guy. I'm going to have you come on campus. So I hadn't applied, I wasn't a student, and she let me be on campus for 3 days. I had to get permission from the homeless shelter to come on campus. And those 3 days were probably the days that I was able to see myself graduating like me in a very real sense from a 4-year college. I did apply, and I got into Illinois Wesleyan. And that is really where I started to grow. Like in just 2.5 years at Illinois Wesleyan, I received 4 internships, 3 scholarships, graduated on time, and you know, the rest is history. I went right into doing admissions and helping other students with college access. So I think probably for me, the biggest thing was not only having great mentors, but people seeing me what I couldn't see at the time. There have been times where I've been so low that there was no option but to dream about a better situation for myself. You know, so like I talked about with the homeless shelter, that was probably an example where I would think like, this can't be it for me, like this can't be it. And so I would start to ask questions like, how did you get where you are? Like, how did you do this? When I would ask my mentor, how are you getting all A's? Like, what's your trick? Just asking people, like people that are successful. So I think that's one way, is that I would just, my situation being so low, I would get curious. And another thing I would do is just, I would literally take time out of my schedule to map out like, where do I see myself? Short-term goals, intermediate goals, long-term goals, like what are people saying I can accomplish? And that was probably another thing. I did have a lot of detractors, people who would say like, you're never gonna make it in there, you're not gonna get into Illinois Wesleyan, you're not gonna do this. Like, I just kind of wanted to prove them wrong too.
I hope that you enjoyed that conversation. I think Kenneth's story is proof that with a champion in our lives and with approaching goals with the growth mindset, we are able to achieve anything. We are able to accomplish and knock off aggressively all the goals that we have and our purpose in life. I know that in 2017, I have some aggressive goals that I want to accomplish. And after reading this book and talking to Kenneth, I feel that I can now approach them in a new and exciting way. And I hope that you can do the same. I definitely encourage each of you to check out this book, Mindset, by Dr. Dweck. And hopefully you will gain some of the things that I learned and some of the things that Kenneth has implemented in his life. What are some of the goals that you have for this year, and how do you plan to accomplish them? I would love to hear from you. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at Be Hopeful People. Looking forward to hearing from you soon. Have a great rest of the week, and remember, be hopeful, people. Peace.